Is there a reason why, when we are told that the meaning of life is simply about love, we are left unsatisfied as though we were given a contrived, lazy, incomplete answer? When we think of images of human sacrifice, we might conjure up the idea of the Aztecs being thrown into a pit of bodies and blood, or perhaps we will think of something, according to earlier mankind, something horrific that we wouldn't imagine today. However, despite this horror, we will continue to call nature beautiful, as it is in totality. Is it when people say that nature is beautiful, they are only regarding certain aspects of its visual beauty, or the complacency and peace they feel when standing out in a meadow next to a waterfall with a gentle breeze? Because what we are actually witnessing in this earth are forms of slaughter. What are the forms of slaughter? The animals. And just as we are animals, but if you take a closer look, it's quite obvious and evident that nature has equipped animals with fangs, claws, for the exact purpose of rendering flesh. You'll see then that simply nature has set up forms for sacrifice and to be sacrificed. And that is what the body is. It is something to be sacrificed and to be made to sacrifice. Most beings on this planet are heterotrophic versus autotrophic, meaning that they must sustain themselves by consuming other life forms. Even in human society, we are told that we are all equal, but is that actually what we are experiencing on a visceral level? Is that truly what is speaking to us when we actually observe life? Are we really living out this idea that everything is love and love is everywhere, whatever that even means? On a more obvious and practical level, outside of occult thinking, isn't it already clear what nature is and its predatory cycle? By distracting ourselves from that truth, have we actually prevented that truth from manifestation, or does it continue its onward cycle for seemingly an eternity, almost as if it were some kind of hell? The rendering of flesh and the gnashing of teeth as some kind of imagery of hell already existing here as a basic norm, a basic standard. It's energy harvesting. That's what we are experiencing. And in human society, we experience it differently. We experience the nuance. Consumption takes on new forms. Whether you are consuming media or product, we play games throughout the financial cycle. And that's how we do it here. Satisfaction via oppression. Are we not doing the same to be sacrificed or to sacrifice for our own benefit? Is that something that we're not experiencing here? Is the microcosm the same as the macrocosm? These bodies that we have are what supposedly made for experiencing love, when really they come into the world hungry, seeking satisfaction. What we are actually experiencing here are games of power and deprivation. And if we were to call it out for what it is, we are somehow ostracized, or we are somehow being irrational or unreasonable. But that is simply a distraction, because awareness of it changes your perspective of what it is, enabling you to take a different position in the context of it all for your own benefit. And although we are not literally equipped with fangs and claws, using it to murder one another and then consume one another like the animals, we are doing it in a symbolic way where there are victims and there are predators. They just take different forms and in ways that are considered acceptable by society. But regardless, it still exists. Similar to the way that a monopoly, a large business, consumes or consolidates smaller businesses, is like that of a larger fish consuming the smaller fish. Our labor is consumed. Our time and energy is consumed. To ascend to the top of the pyramid means stepping on something else. It means depending on a foundation to step on, to be above, to be over, to have power over. The sacrifice of the worker, his or her time, for the greater objective of the business or corporation, or government, or master of any form.